Hello, thank you very much for coming in on time. So we will start. My name is Naveed Khawaja, and as in the intro I mentioned, I've got some interesting things to share after the initial 20 minutes or so. We can have more of a conversation and have some discussions on how and what has worked for us from business transformation perspective. But I'll start with something more generic to make sure we get the concepts right. Okay. We'll start with the quick activity when it works. Okay, if you can all stand up and follow the instructions on the screen. So pair up with someone you don't know and then discuss the statement on the screen. Okay, great. By this time you should have come up with the statement, or you should have switched roles. If one of you has already come up with the statement, try to switch the roles. Now. Okay, you're done. Thank you. Please take your seats. So I only am going to ask for 2 volunteers. Is there anything interesting that you've come up with? Anything that you would like to share with the audience? Please, yes.
We'd like to thank Agile On The Beach for a small but perfectly formed, really diverse experience.
Small but perfectly formed? Yeah. Diverse experience?
Yeah, fluid and diverse.
Fluid and diverse. Okay, excellent. Yes?
Without saying the statement, what was quite clear was we were starting from a very similar place and going towards a very similar place because it's a positive experience.
Mm-hmm.
So that's quite easy, if you like.
Yes.
You're kind of wordsmithing stuff as opposed to
Yes.
trying to balance out any conflict with the team.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, it is a wonderful venue, wonderful people, organization is great, and we all know. So this is the first time I'm here in Cornwall and to this wonderful conference. So I would like to thank the organizers. Can we have a quick round of applause for the team? Okay. So now about me. Father of 5, run a few businesses. I advise startups as well. The key business transformations I've done in the last 10 years or so are General Electric, GE, their large transformation about 18 months, where they were acquired a world-leading telecom asset management company in Cambridge, and I was asked to help remove those enterprise cultural challenges. The other one was Standard Life in Edinburgh, which was all about the financial sector and the intricacies of the large budget programs that create challenges of time pressure. The other one, the considerable one that I really love, is the eBay transformation that I did in London. This was about eBay Enterprise, the advertising agency. I don't know whether you're aware. eBay Enterprise is the organization that manages the transformation. It is an advertising agency effectively that helps organizations do all their marketing and advertising. So transforming that kind of organization meant that I was going to be out of my comfort zone of helping the IT teams, helping them transform, and then seeing how Agile and Lean and Kanban and Six Sigma principles combined, even some waterfall principles combined, they come together to put in a different context, which is non-IT. Think about it, advertising agency has nothing to do with IT per se. Right? Yes, they have their outsourced IT partners for some small tools. Everything else is marketing team, advertising, the marketeers, why would they worry about trust-driven development or anything to do with the daily, whatever ceremonies you can mention, the 4 key ceremonies. So it was quite an interesting experience. And that one thing that really triggered in about 4-5 years ago was my interest in this concept of Agile in business. Because I was helping the leaders, I helped them transform from a product servicing offering perspective, the client management, offshore team management, our outsourced partners, design teams, their legal structures, especially from contracts. You know, when we talk about Agile as an organization, we cannot live without Agile contracts. If you are pretending to be Agile, They say, oh yeah, see, our teams do Agile so well, and your contracts are fixed price. You're pretending, you're fooling yourself. It will not work. Ultimately, it's going to bite back. And that has happened in most of the organizations, whoever have tried to just follow Agile as a practice rather than understanding its principles. Because it is all about ethical risk-sharing mindset. And bringing all of that and the recent transformation, the big one, about, and I'll talk about that later in more detail, it's the 65,000 employees, 65 countries, huge transformation that we are in right now, and the lessons that we are getting from that. But my personal touch, my personal feeling and the approach to Agile is it is a way of life more than anything else. If you're not living and breathing and thinking Agile, you can pretend all your life saying, yeah, I do Agile, I talk Agile. And that's what leaders do most of the time. They just say those words, they go to or the typical example is they'll take their flights, they'll see a magazine, and on the magazine they find those buzzwords. Oh, we need to be AI, oh, we need to have blockchain. Agile was there once as well. Right? And they say, oh yeah, we need to have it. We need to have Scrum in the whole organization. That's a killer in itself. Why would you make a whole organization Scrum? There's so many other challenges with it. I do Agile in a different, many different contexts. Those are more interesting stories to me now rather than telling you all the same old transformation stories. Oh yeah, we did this to an organization, we did the assessment, we did the training and all the required skill development, and then we did coaching and mentoring. We've done that many times, and you heard that many times as well. So let's focus on something more different than normal. So if you think, I'll show you a couple of things that you might not have seen yet. This is my 6-year-old daughter doing her Kanban, trying to manage her day at home. And this is mid of the day, so you can see the sunshine coming into the room. What does it mean? There are implications with that, right? It's a 6-year-old. She can't have a full structured day. It's a creative part of her life. We all should have a creative part of our life, but she's in that full zone. She doesn't have to worry about anything else. But how many of you have children in this audience? Most of you, right? Has any of you, so if you had a 6-year-old who is now grown up, or if there is a younger one who's approaching to 6, that statement you'll hear so many times that it will haunt you in your sleep as well. I'm getting bored. Have you heard that before? Right. Mama or Papa, tell me what to do. And that distracts you, especially when you're in that moment of, yeah, I'm writing something or creating a design of a huge transformation program, and suddenly it's your young one. Papa, I'm bored. Right? And you don't want to push them out of the room. You could need to attend to them, and that distracts you. So this was one of my solutions for her. Right? It's like I gave her a list bigger than her day schedule, and so this on the left side you can't see. There's a video online as well. You can see it. I can share it, tweet it later on. There's a big backlog of about 30 items, so she can never run out of work. Right? I give her enough work to stay busy, and she picks stuff on her own. There's like things like riding a bike, reading. There's something, resting, and so many interesting things, playing with Lego, whatever. That keeps her busy, but gives her a mindset of, there's a visualization of work. There is a certain limited time I have every day, and then there is a kind of a collaboration required with the product owner. You get the idea? If she understands that in the early age, that will really help me later on. And it is. This was 3 years ago. Now she has a full Kanban. She's preparing for her 11 plus, actually. She's 4 years old. She's preparing for her 11 plus, and she's got a full plan of the whole next year in how, when I say plan, meaning a list of key things that she needs to do for the 4 key subjects. That's a quick example of how Agile has been used out of IT in my home. This is the lounge wall. So our decoration in the house is mainly Kanbans all over the place. Almost every wall in our house has a visualization of one sort or another. In the main lounge, it is a main Kanban of each and every individual. So this is my eldest son's and so I can tell you all about it, but that's not more. The thing is, if you notice, TV is there because it helps us visualize the virtual Kanbans and the media that we choose to see. Okay, so you can't just say, I'll turn on the TV and that's easy, I'll leave my children in front of them, and yeah, they'll stay busy. You need to choose the media, and that media has to help them come to the focus of what are they trying to achieve. Now, why am I going into that too much detail of that? Because if you are thinking agile, if your mindset is agile, you need to enable your whole family and yourself. And that will radiate your agility all across. So my friends, my social, my community work, the charities that I help, all of them, we do not have any meeting without a Kanban. We do not do anything other than visualizing work. When we plan our quarters, we do everything using Kanban. So there is a ripple effect that we are creating. And most of it is non-IT in these examples. Let me bring that all to the big transformation that I've been part of in the recent times. 65,000 employees, as I mentioned. It's about $200 million transformation. It's a huge transformation. And there are about 5,000 IT people in that. So if you look at the proportion of IT in this big picture, you'll notice that IT is not the main function. IT is just part of enabling the organization from a technology perspective. Majority is non-IT. And more agile maturity is coming into organization, they are realizing that when they optimize the agile team, the IT department, they do it so well, and they're trying to optimize 10% of the whole cycle time from inception to reality of any idea. Businesses have so many other functions that are not being made agile, and you're just trying to spend so much money in that one small pocket, and you're assuming it will have an impact on everything else. Do you think it will work? You're just pretending that you're doing transformation. Even with that budget, it will not work. Because if you think about it, if it's this much, the whole cycle, inception to reality, and you're optimizing this, it is like, has anybody seen that big bridge in Florida with the steel ropes? Right, those steel ropes, they suspension bridges, they have these big, thick steel ropes. Those steel ropes on one side, and you're tying that with a basic thread in the end. What's the tensile strength of the whole thing? The tensile strength is the overall system strength. If there is one small patch, that weakest link is going to waste all the energy that you've exerted in other parts. However strong you make it, it will not make any difference if the whole system is not optimized. So in our case, we are just optimizing IT. We are thinking we are building these strong steel ropes, but we are not, because we are just a small thread in that big steel rope. And we're trying to strengthen that. It's not going to help. So what can we do? Now, the title of the talk is Turn the Ship or the Lighthouse. So can we quickly pair up and see what you understand till now of who is the lighthouse and who am I referring to as a ship? Can you please pair up with somebody else? Okay, you got your ideas? Okay, would you like to share some? What do you think?
We've got similar on the Lighthouse being CEO, board, top level, and the ship being possibly the IT department, and then management silo, trying to be a catalyst to change rather than being directed to change.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, anybody else? Yes.
We're very similar. We basically thought that the ship was an agile IT team, and the Lighthouse is kind of a Prince 2 organisation that still tries to transform.
Yes, and now I'll bring everything to perspective, hopefully, and you'll see the different dots connecting. When we are in a storm, when we are in a ship and in a storm, and there's a lighthouse, what's the function of a lighthouse?
So let us know where we are and to
to let us know where we are, to help us, to direct us, to communicate with us, to give us a kind of a direction so that we are safe, right? Who changes course? The lighthouse or the ship? Right? Who do you think is IT and business in this analogy? Who is business and who is IT? The lighthouse or the ship? Okay, why? Okay, and do business change? We know IT changes all the time, but do business departments change? Okay, do you change the direction of a business based on an IT transformation? Okay, it happens rarely, yes?
So in retail or something like that, there's a shift, there's a seismic shift away from a built estate to an online estate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where actually IT is enabling the change to enable a business to transition.
Yes, still, a great point. The ethos of the business is still retail, right? So that's what I'm referring to. The fundamental function of a business, of an organization, the objective is to improve people's lives or add value to people's lives. Yes, money is made in the meanwhile, but then that stays, that's the key function, the reason why you have a business. IT is just an enabler in that, right? So the lighthouse is going to keep directing you to that. If it's not, there is a challenge. IT is supposed, so the business is supposed to give that guidance and IT is supposed to steer accordingly. Okay. However, there is sometimes that communication back to the lighthouse as well. And we will see what that means in a short while. So what happens if the lighthouse doesn't do its function? If it doesn't provide you a clear vision, doesn't help you share that vision, it doesn't give you a clear view of how and where we are going. And all they ask the IT departments is you need to optimize yourself, you need to improve your delivery, you need to have shorter feedback cycles, you need to have faster time to market, all sorts of things, yes, IT needs to do. But what happens if business is not really sharing that vision to the rest of the organization? They can't see you, it's okay. So you can't see where you're going. You don't know whether you're going to you are aligned with that vision or not. You're going to do local optimizations. You might assume a few things and you'll do the best endeavors in any given situation. So especially in a stormy situation where we are right now, the businesses are struggling, you will ultimately crash. Things will happen, strange things will happen. The first thing the organizations do, and I'm just going to tell you 3 things that we did, and that is a common pattern in majority of the transformations. The first one is, we said, okay, we want to go agile, we want to make sure that we have a faster time to market in our organization. When you want that, the first thing they come up with, okay, we need to train everybody. How do they come up with that solution? Because some of the consultancies will come in and they tell the senior leaders, or they play golf with the senior leaders and say, you need to train everybody. That's how you transform. Is that how you transform? You try that, I can guarantee you it will not work. Why? Yes, because training is just a snapshot of a situation. It will give you some theories, some practical examples, and what would happen when they go back. So let's say you come for a 2-day training and you go back, it's let's say Friday, you go back on Monday, what would happen? You might be excited about some of the ideas, half of them are already gone because it was the weekend, and then the moment there is a pressure situation, a business challenge or any scenario that is you're struggling with, all that training is gone. You're going to try and solve the problem through the existing ways of working, because the organization structure, we had that discussion earlier as well, the organizational structure is not supporting this kind of way of working yet. So training people without having a kind of a view on the structure of the organization is a big challenge, because you're trying to fit in something that doesn't suit the environment yet. Okay, yes, we can have radical ideas, yes, we can develop some people, but it has to be a kind of a transformation program. So just training will not give you good results. and you cannot just depend on training to get everything done. Okay, why? So let's say we have 65,000 people in our organization. Do you think we should be training 65,000 employees? Would that be viable? It's not at all.
I think you've got to break it down. What training do the people in the organisation require?
Yes. Exactly right. Yes.
The organisation.
So when you focus on training, so that's the first point. Please do remember that. If you are going to train people, you need to understand that context on where they need it. And my rule of thumb is generally about 1% of the organization need to be trained. 1%. That is a very, very low number. Okay, I'm talking about large organizations here. Okay. Why am I giving you this rule of thumb? This is a very strange number, 1%.
Because they become the catalyst.
Yes, if you train the right people, that 1% will make all the difference. That ripple effect needs to be created, manufactured, and benefited from. So that's the one. When you train people, you need to choose the right people who go on that training, and then also with the view that they are going to create sustainability within. Any organization that has just trained people and not focused on creating this roadmap for these internal change agents to be developed, transformation has not worked. It might have short-term results like 1 or 2 years, but they go back to traditional ways of working. Yes?
Can you define organisation for me? So I'm not quite getting that. You took like the whole entire of the business.
The entire business.
operation?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Not talking about the department that might be
No.
beneficial.
No. I'm talking about the whole thing. I'm talking about large transformations here. Okay?
Yeah.
If you want to just do it in your department, that's great. Most welcome. You should train your smaller teams, and you should have some problems solved. But still, the change will be brought in by those passionate, the IT change agents, or the change catalysts, and they're going to bring change in. They need to be coached. Without coaching, it will not work.
So then the follow-up question is, can you define training for me then?
Yes, I'm talking about this standard 2-day certified training.
So you said 1% of the organization could go on a 2-day standard certification course.
And very selectively chosen of those individuals. They need to bring that training inside. So what that means is there are certain people in your organization who are, so for example, I'll give you in my scenario what we did. So 65,000 employees, about 5,000 IT. How many people would we train? We only chose about 100 people, just 100. Those 100 are the passionate people who are on the Agile learner journey, we say ALJ. And those need to be nurtured well, and it has to be part of their job to bring the transformation in.
And is that 1% primarily within IT, or is that completely?
Initially it was, yeah, yes, initially it was IT, and that was a mistake. Because it was IT, what happened was we had good success in our large programs. We had great success in delivery and fast time to market and all the collaboration and visualization. What happened was business was not brought on board up earlier. 3 years into this transformation, we are now seeing the challenges with the business. They say they are agile, they've been part of the program increment planning, they've been part of the quarterly planning, they've been attending demos, they've been doing daily stand-ups, they've been having their Kanbans, but they still don't know what agile is. Because they're just there, they're dipping in, attending an event, and leaving. They're not living it, they're not having their mindset right. They're not expecting the delivery teams to work with them in an incremental way. So they are pretending to be agile. They're not deeply agile yet. Now, a couple of things that have happened recently have changed the whole perspective of this. So I would never say what I'm saying right now if those events had not happened. So I'll now bring all of that into perspective. What happens is we trained the large programs like the finance transformation, the operations transformation, the manufacturing, and these are huge functions in our organization right now. And when you're transforming them, you realize, oh, we have these, let's say, 1,000 people in this program. How do we work on them? The 170 million, 120 million, those kind of ranges, yearly budgets of these programs. So you train those people, you help them do those PI planning sessions, the quarterly sessions in SAFE. Then you have those, all those ceremonies, the planning, the sprinting, the demos, retrospectives, everything is happening.
So can I just
Yes.
say, a minute ago you response to my question about defined training was 2 days strong certification
An example, yes.
You just said safe just now.
Yes,
So you now said that people went on safe training courses as well.
I'm saying if we just had all of these people on a certified training only, it will not produce any good results. They need to be on a transformation journey. They need to be trained, they need to be supported, coached, and then mentored later on, with the view that external support will not be required. If you put your people on that journey, yes, that training will be helpful.
Sorry to keep asking questions.
Yes, no, it's good, it's good.
So your question, you mentioned there operations were part of the people you were training.
Yes,
Scrum is the thing you referred to first of all. Is that what you were using on operations as an example?
yeah, again, their leaders had to select some people. And they selected some people to go on a training course because they had to nominate people. And they nominated operations people to go on a Scrum course. Now, you see where I'm going, right? That Lighthouse didn't have a view of why Scrum is not relevant at all to that part of the organization. They should have gone on a Kanban course, for example. They should have gone on something else that is more relevant to the service or delivery of quality of service, right? So coming back to, now when we tried all of that, the business was staying on the periphery of all of this. In the recent last 8 months, what we realized was the business wasn't really getting engaged. So we started working with the commercial teams. Now this is a huge part of our organization. Commercial teams have the marketing team within them, the marketing companies. We've got global marketing companies within commercial all across the globe, about 65 of them. So I started working with the L&D department, the learning and development department, within the marketing company. They've got their own internal business school. They've got all this interesting training and things in them. Now, when I started working with them and I helped them understand the value of Agile, they were like, no, Agile comes from IT and doesn't relate to us. We are a marketing company. We have got our sales training to do. We've got so many other things to do. So it took a few months of those conversations and small things. Ultimately, they realized that there is value in here. Let's try it out. So I ran a session with them, a half-day intro to Agile for Business, and it was run for the internal L&D department. Okay. How many of you are working in a large organization? When I say large organization, meaning a transformation of about 20,000 people or more. Few of you, right? And though you would know you'll probably resonate more with what I'm saying. With these large organizations, you need to have an entry point. You need to start the transformation from somewhere. We started from IT 3 years ago. It has not really produced results across the organization. It has just optimized IT. What we have realized 6-8 months ago is, if we had started here, it would have helped. Why? The reason is, when you do IT transformation at that scale, you are pushing business to be Agile. You getting it? You're transforming IT and you're pushing Agile to be Agile, pushing business to be Agile. Whereas if you start from here, which is you train business and you educate business in that mindset, and you have your executive coaches for Agile, and you've got the Agile leadership and behaviors mindset developed from business side, what is it going to do? It's going to educate the business, and they are going to pull IT towards Agile. There's a huge difference in this. We realized that after 4 years of working in this scenario. This is a very complex thing that was not easily visible. You push IT to be Agile, they are Agile, they try to push business to be Agile. That has very limited success. Because business is busy, they say IT is just a function of delivery. It's not our main function. So whatever the leaders of IT are saying, yeah, it's fine, it's an idea, but we are too busy. We are busy bringing the business, we are making the money, you are just a small piece of this organization. So what are you going to do? To try to switch this around. When you educate business, they say, oh, this is great. This is exactly how we want IT to work. So now business says, oh, we got an idea. So now it's business's idea. And they go to the IT saying, why don't you deliver in this way of working? And now they're pulling IT towards Agile. When that pull happens, all the leaders in IT, they start giving it some power, some reason, they're giving it some value that business is asking for it. So the guy who's paying for it is also pulling us to be Agile. And that is a very kind of that secret for us, that secret for exponential transformation, exponential speed in transformation, where you're saying IT was trying to push for the last 3 years for the whole business to be agile, very limited results. You're trying to do it from business, and I'll give you some results from here. So after that L&D session, 40 of the global senior leadership team members of all marketing companies were getting together for their 5-day yearly retreat. I was given that, so my department was given the opportunity to present that half-day Intro to Agile for Business workshop, similar to the one we did to the L&D team. That was organized by the L&D team, in fact. So you see, gradually, when we educate the L&D team, who has nothing to do with IT, you create that relationship and you say, okay, I think the leaders, the marketing team might benefit from it. The marketing team, their senior leadership, the president of the marketing companies, the whole of Europe, she inaugurated the session, introduced me, and I delivered that myself. It was a very big extended session, about 40 people in one room. You're trying to do a Intro to Agile for Business. And this had to be a completely non-IT lingo training. Remember, when we use these terms in Agile that are technical, we are switching off business. So the other thing is the language. And that's where that relationship starts building. When we educated those 40 leaders from the marketing companies, they started saying, oh, okay, so this is very beneficial. And I'm talking about cardiovascular teams, I'm talking about regulatory affairs teams, I'm talking about all these security teams. Wow, so we are bringing in these completely non-IT people into business. And these are 40 leaders I'm talking about. Their organization sizes are from 200 to 2,000. So you're creating that ripple effect from business side, and what suddenly happens is that exponential growth that we were hoping for the last 3 years has happened from another position. Instead of IT pushing for Agile, for business to be Agile, business is pulling IT to be Agile. Why? Because these cardiovascular teams and the regulatory affairs teams and all the other teams, they have dependencies on IT. And you know the inherent relationship between business and IT? Business says, IT never delivers on time. So we do not want to work with the internal IT. They are not dependable, they never deliver on time, the quality is poor. We'll either go to the external partners or we won't do it. Okay? And what do the IT say? Or we can't work with these business guys. They set unrealistic expectations. So that relationship is inherently bad. I have not seen an organization where internal business and IT are happy with each other. They're always fighting. They do not like each other for some reason. And that is that mistrust. So right now what is happening in this 4th year of our transformation is business is saying, we find this valuable, you come in and train us as an organization, as a center of excellence. You come in, you create a journey for us, for business teams, on how you're going to train ourselves first, how you're going to coach us, how you're going to mentor us, how you're going to develop the coach, train the trainer programs within, and how you're going to help us get IT onto this journey with us. Imagine this is a completely opposite thing that we started from. But we had to go through this painful time of, we have trained people, we have coached people, we have programs are Agile, but still organization is not Agile at all, to a new wave, which is suddenly very energizing. Now the regional heads, the presidents, the heads of these marketing companies, they are all pulling us towards agility. And what's happening is the legal and procurement team, to think about it, the last thing in my mind would be the legal and procurement team asking for Agile. Can you imagine a legal and procurement guy coming to you saying, I need to know how Agile works? How did that happen? It is happening, actually, it has happened. That's one of the best case studies within. I can't show you that video, it's confidential. But there was a social media video that I created for the internal site. And what happened was, they have got a huge Kanban about the size. The legal and procurement team I'm talking about. They talk in contract language. They have a Kanban and they were struggling with requests. So previously they were having at least 6-week lead time for any work that they had to do. You put a request in, 6 weeks, no response, because nobody's going to check it. They're too busy. And or we said, okay, so you're a small team, and yes, you've got international teams supporting you, but how do you work like this? Is such a delay. How do you handle exceptions? They say, okay, the most squeaking wheel gets the grease first, right? That means, and the power as well. So if a request comes in from a president of a region and comes from another senior leader from another organization, we try to evaluate who has the biggest pain, and we try to help them. So because what happens to the others? So yeah, they get delayed. The typical service delivery issues. All we asked for was, they said, okay, but they said, we have seen some benefits of Agile. We were part of your training. We want to apply Agile. What can we do? So we said, okay, I don't know. Let's have a quick root cause analysis. We had a discussion, and we found out that their work in progress was, they had too much work in progress. All we did was we filled in their Kanban with the projects in progress. About 80 items in progress. And I'm talking about a physical, that room has about 4 people only in that room. I've got 50, 60 people across the globe. I said, how can you have 80 items in progress? He says, yeah, because we were working on this, and suddenly another fire came in, and another fire, and another fire, 10, 20 different fires came in. That's how we are working. All we did was we put in work in progress limits, and the magic happens. So did we have to go through any of the sprint planning? No. Did we do anything against Agile? No. Did we do anything against Scrum? Yes. We said you do daily stand-ups, that's fine, it's great. Why not? They chose to have twice a week daily stand-ups. They're doing it for legal procurement team. They're having their demos. When I say demo, meaning they get together every week, they see what progress has been made. They're having their retrospectives. You can do all of that in any context. Nobody is stopping you. And nobody is going to come from Scrum and say, why did you not do sprint planning? It's fine, do Scrum ban, it's okay. Solve your problem, okay? And then, yes?
Did you have connected Kanban boards to visualize different departments across the whole organization?
We are not there yet. This is just still in silos, but business is now pulling, so it will hopefully be there. We do have a huge implementation of Jira, a big complex thing, but it's not a connected organization yet. There's still loads. So, for example, procurement team, what's going to happen? We have just changed our master service agreement. I was working with that legal team, and master service agreement, you know, this thick, A4, 10 font, and they said, okay, let's make them Agile. I was like, what did you? I was about to throw up. It's so bad. And the lawyers came in, and the external consultants, and we realized it's the core simple concepts. There's 3 or 4 key fundamentals. One of them is ethics. Business ethics are governed by risk-sharing contracts. Okay, the risk-sharing becomes the key fundamental reason why we should have our contracts changed. Why? Because if you have a fixed price, somebody is going to be exploited one way or another. If you have a fixed price contract, you are going to either exploit someone or you will be exploited. As simple as that. I'm talking about large contracts here. Okay, how? A quick example. A typical outsourcing relationship is, I'm talking about hiring 2,000 people outside, right? So what are you going to do? Oh, let's get a fixed price contract on this piece of work. Let's transform this part of the business. Let's say we hire IT people. We get a fixed price quote. What happens? 3 or 4 big consultancies, they come in and they give you a quotation. You take that quotation, and would you choose the cheapest one? Let's say you choose the least possible ones, right? They might be offering you all of that at a loss. These are generally loss leaders, right? They'll come in, they'll start working with you, they'll be putting money in from their pockets to pay for the salaries, because your money is not enough for their salaries of the people. So you're happy in the first year. Later, after about a year or so, you will realize, and they will also realize, the relationship is soaring. Because in the fixed price contract, you had a full detailed list of requirements defined, which can never be enough, because the moment you close that file, the moment you stop writing, it is out of date. The moment you close that file, you're out of date in those requirements, right? Traditional problems. So the contract is not valid anymore from a content perspective. The supplier knows that they have now anchored in your organization. You've spent 1 year with them. They start pushing back on you more. They ask for more money for their change requests, or everything becomes a change request. And whatever used to be part of acceptance normally, now is becoming like a kind of a resistance. No, that is a change request. Previously, it's like, is that a change request? Possibly. Now, when you talk about it, no, it is a change request. Because you can't do anything at all. You are stuck with them, and because it's a large program, you cannot pull out of that relationship. It is going to be exploiting, very, very painfully exploiting for the whole organization. It happens all the time. So what is changing now? The ethics are coming in, the risk sharing is coming in, the fixed price contracts are going into the risk sharing contracts. And those risk sharing contracts are where we have time and material in 2 phases. I can't go into too much detail right now, but we did that. So again, we have done pockets of non-IT transformation in this large organization, a huge organization. But the thing that is paying off is not what we did with IT. The thing that is really paying off is what we are doing with the business. And if you want to take away one thing from today, is if you don't take business along with you, those apparently, those things that you think are nothing to do with Agile, those are the ones that are going to bite you back. Please work with them. Give them the attention. Legal and procurement, marketing companies, all the things that are within those big key functions that are there, you need to enable them to be Agile for your transformation to be successful. Otherwise, end is near. Because you know, if the rate of change inside is slower than the rate of change outside, the end is near. And that's what Jack Welch said many decades ago, and that's what has happened to GE. Interestingly, they've gone off the Dow Jones rating for the first time. That used to be the most successful corporate in the world, and they've just nosedived on that. How and why, that's a different discussion, but all of that reminds me of just one final quote, and we'll close there. You need to have the Morse code ready for the business and IT. And that communication, that visual, you know, the light, how do the ship and the lighthouse communicate with those lights, right? You need to establish that. That protocol needs to be established, that language has to be non-IT. And when you train people, you need to bring them along on a non-IT language-driven culture change. If you do traditional transformation with traditional IT embedded language, it is not going to help you do a big transformation. You have to start from the other side. And language has to be neutral. You need to give people flexibility and then help them get onto this journey for a lasting change. How you develop people within, yes, you should train, yes, you should coach, yes, you should have the mentoring, but that program has to be sustained from within. If you're going to depend on external consultants, the transformation will not last for long. I've seen that so many times, failing again and again. Yes, you do need a fresh pair of eyes here and there, again and again, but not full time. Your internal people need to be trained and coached. Okay, so make sure that you have those train the trainer programs and coach the coach programs within the organizations, more than just training people in the periphery. Okay, and the final point on all of this is, if you to do this one last activity and we'll leave after that, pair up with someone and talk about what are you going to try and change from Monday. Whatever I've said, I know there are quite a few ideas in there, implicit and explicit. If you pair up with someone and just talk about what are you going to try from Monday. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Any ideas you want to share before you go? Yes, please.
Yeah, I think we need to say
The core of all things, yes.
I will write things, English stories.
Plain English version. Excellent. Okay, great. Any other ideas? Yes. Have a sorry?
So my business
Yes.
unit, I think they don't visualise how much work there is to do. So I'm next week going to put all my high-level features on the walls in all the offices,
Wonderful.
and just keep it simple and say that IT were working on that and change the colour of it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, yeah.
Just to reinforce that, about 4 weeks ago,
Yeah.
we moved the exec team over to Camera,
Yeah.
and you would not believe the difference it's made. So we've had
Yeah.
people who are just, they've never done Agile.
Yeah.
We brought them on today, and I actually had our head of production come to me this morning saying, I need to go on Agile Transformation, because I've
Yes.
seen it in the past 4 weeks, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And this is someone who for a living writes government bids and tenders.
Wow.
But for them to think Agile is quite
Wonderful. Okay, excellent. So, yeah, I'm happy to share more ideas. Thank you very much for coming in. And please help your organizations change. Thank you.